Hi, my name is Dr. Shali. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Let's talk. So today I have a very special guest. Her name is Bertha Indongo. She is a friend of mine. We've been friends for a while. But I'll let her introduce herself. Bertha, hello. Please say hello to my people.
Hi, that was people. As she said, my name is Bertha Indongo, and yes, of course, we're friends, and that's part of the reason why I'm here today. And I'm very excited about this new chapter that she decided to take from her blogging onto video at long last. We can people who don't know her can put a face to the writer, to the articles.
Yeah.
Well, I am a finance and HR manager by day, and I'm also a mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually that's the main reason we have Bertha on here today. She said she does finance and HR, and so do I. So we used to work together, and then we've just been friends ever since. So Bertha, can you tell me, number one,
Yes.
how old is your little person, and how old is your son, and how old is and tell us what I think. Let's start off with what is the greatest thing about being a mom, and how you think it has changed you.
Okay. The greatest thing about being a mother is I think I didn't understand how my mother reasoned when it came to her children until I had my son.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is a great reward because it got me to understand motherhood in a way from a stance of how specific things are done by her for her children. It made me understand a little bit about the kind of person she is.
Mm-hmm.
The most rewarding. What was the second question again?
I asked. Okay, I've asked how old he is first, and then also, yeah, what's most rewarding? What do you love
Okay.
most about being a mom?
The most rewarding thing is just seeing that smile on his face. If regardless of what you do, you can be scolding him for something and he's just like he's like the fact that he has no care in the world, and the fact that this no care in the world means that I could influence that no care to become something, it's just a very beautiful thing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy is like a year and oh my god, a year and I the months, April, May, June, July, August. It's a year and 4 months now.
Okay.
Wow, it's been long. A
Yeah.
whole year and 4 months. Wow.
And 9 months before that. It's not, I think, okay, I think then I would like to ask you, there's a bit of a delay because of the internet, but what can we do? It's Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have these interviews in person, but obviously because of the virus, I don't want to expose anybody, and I especially don't want to expose the little man because I'm doing so many of these interviews. If you come here and you take it home, I don't want to be responsible for that. So no. So we're gonna have to deal with our little technological issues, but that's fine. So okay, then I wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you
Mm-hmm.
so since you've become a mom and you say you now understand why your mom does the things she does and the way she behaves, like, and the way she treats her kids and the things she would do for her kids. I think I think it's difficult to comprehend until you are actually a mom. And so, and I've heard that from a lot of people are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's why she said that, or that's why she did this. And then I think I would like to ask you how I guess what you struggle with most being a mom, being a new-ish mom. I think you're getting there now. Your experience is coming up. If you're a government employee, you would have surpassed your probation period. What do you think is the thing that I love the delayed reactions because what do you think is something that you really, really maybe is difficult or challenging? I think I like the word challenging rather than difficult. What do you think is the most challenging thing about being a mom and being a single mom in particular?
Yeah. I think for me, I think most of all is adjusting to the new life of being with a small person, not a small person, with a child. It's because every time I think of doing something, the first person I need to think of is him.
Yes.
If I decide I want to quit my job, I need to think of him. If I decide I need to move to a specific area, I need to think of him. If I decide I need to move to a specific flat, I can't live on a level like a third, second, fourth floor flat because his safety comes first. So not that it's a challenge, but it's just that there are a lot of, not limitations per se, there are a lot of things that if I would do them, I'd have to think of him first. But I think the most challenging is, in my stance, is if there's no support. That's really some of the challenges that a single mother would face.
Yeah.
But for my own side, I think if I'd have to be honest, to really, really, really be frank, I can't say I've had any challenges that are like influence outside, except internally, like the adjusting. I know a lot of new moms, a lot of people don't even know that when you have a child, the hardest time is not even the delivery. The hardest time comes those sleepless nights when you're used to having a certain number of sleep. Now you need to cut that number of sleep into so many chunks because you have to wake up when the baby wakes up, to feed the baby, change the baby. I think that part in itself was really a challenge to me. It was really, really hard.
Yeah.
But in as much as it was hard, the minute he woke up, I just wake up and I would do whatever I needed to do for him. I would never sleep through his crying, that type of thing. But it's a challenge because, like I said, you were pregnant for 9 months, but that pregnancy for 9 months, the baby is inside. So the baby doesn't need to wake up to eat or whatever. You wake up and you go eat if you need to yourself because you're hungry. But when it's a whole human, it was really, really, really extremely hard for me to do it.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? The baby will continue crying.
Exactly. It's just the responsibility of somebody's, you are their everything. You are the person that is supposed to, without you, what do they do? You know, if you can't sort of tap out and say, well, somebody's problem right now, this child is yours, he's here, he is your person, and you're responsible for every single thing. And I think I've heard a lot of that as well. I obviously don't have any children, but I've heard a lot of that from new moms as well. It's just the adjustment, the psychological adjustment from being somebody who is solely responsible for themselves, and then suddenly there's a person who depends on you for everything, and it changes, you know, even just the thing of like, you could stand up and go to the shop at any time because you're talking about moving houses and stuff like that. But even smaller things like, oh, I need bread, quickly run to the shop. But now you're like, oh no, I can't just quickly run to the shop. Like there's a person here that needs to be looked after and stuff. Okay, so then I think I want to ask you then.
And in these times, in these times, it's a lot harder because with the new norm we have, everything I do, even going to the shop, I can't even say I can go with him because I need to think of all the precautions that I need to put in place for him. It's not as easy anymore.
Yeah.
As back in the day that you could easily say, I'll just put him in the car and we'll just go. It's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Before I even before we let the question go, I actually wanted to also say one of the challenges I had was that despite the fact that I had, I think, access to the right kind of information, that I had baby apps that updated me of what I needed to know to prepare myself, I still found myself in a sort of a scare where he had caught jaundice in the first, I think after the first 5 days, he caught jaundice. I was so distraught. I had to Google try and understand, and it was really, really extremely hard because then that made it even harder because it meant I needed to wake him up. I needed to feed him I did it every hour. Some people do it every 3 hours. It was really, really extremely hard. It was not the easiest thing. There were times I wanted to break down and cry, but I was like, if I cry, they will cry too. Yeah. So
sure, that's a very valid point. That's a very valid point. I mean, babies are already just so fragile, and children are already just so fragile. And then, if the child gets sick, and if it's like a serious illness, and or a serious, a viral infection or whatever, and you're just panicking, and it's especially when it's your first child, you don't know what to do, the confusion. But yeah, he made it out of that one fine. He's strong and he's good, so God is good. And so, and then I wanted to ask, just I think maybe some, because we want to talk about way forwards and give some good positive feedback and information to anybody watching this who might be having their first or second or whatever child, but would like some motivation, anybody who needs some encouragement. Maybe before we get to the motivation encouragement, I think maybe I can ask you, what do you wish you had known before you had your son that would have made your life easier, especially as a single mother? Which tools do you wish you had in your arsenal before that would possibly have made it a little bit easier? Or because I know we're very light about it, but I know that it's a lot of emotional, it's taxing emotionally, and even if we're smiling, I know it's a very difficult time. And even just to say like, I wanted to cry, this feeling of being destitute, but you can't cry because somebody, the baby's also going to cry. That in itself is very, very taxing. So what do you think what would you have liked to have known before you had your son that would have made your life easier?
So I wish I had known the psychological effects it would have on me. Not the surface, like the sugar-coated version of it, but the depth of it, like to the detail of what is it that you will really, really go through without it being sugarcoated, especially if you're doing everything on your own. And by everything, I'm not even looking at the finances, because I mean, my son's father, I'm very fortunate that he provides everything that we would need. He would provide that. And I'm not unreasonable that I ask for unreasonable things or things that are beyond. It's just things that are related to our child together. But at the end of the day, it's still that whole, people can say, oh no, but if you have somebody that's there and all that, it would really help you out in the long run. The problem is, a woman's mind would always think that you are the one that is to be responsible for the baby. Regardless of who is there, even your own mother, you would not trust. You would just be like, no, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. So I wish I really had known the psychological effect it would have on me. And if I had known that, I think it would have made the road a little bit smooth for myself. And I wish I also had known just how much, I can't say strain, but I don't know how to call it, but I wish I had known how much it would take out of me for me to make sure this human being would be okay. And that's not more of a psychological thing. It's more of, because you'll be tired, like physically, mentally, you would be drained, because it's like, because the baby in the early stages, they cry so much. And you check the diaper's fine. You check the tummy, the baby is full. You don't understand why this person is crying, kind of thing. So I really wish I didn't have a sugar-coated version, because I really, really had a very rude awakening as to what it takes to really be a mom and baby.
That's an interesting thing to say, because I mean, a lot of the time we say, there's a saying, takes a village to raise a child. And especially when there's some communities where your mom can't even, like, your mom will come and stay with you and she won't leave you until the child is a certain age, or you have cousins or whoever coming to look after. But you mentioned that you still felt like ultimately it was your responsibility to just make sure that he's okay and all of that. Even when you have assistance, for some reason you still carry that, like you're a bit hesitant to really accept the assistance, because you still feel like it should all be on you, which is it's a very interesting thing. I think maybe if I don't know what that is, where we carry this complete, like everything is just on our shoulders, and even when people are saying let me help, we are a bit afraid of that. I don't know, do you have a comment on that? You know why?
Yes, I do. Actually, for me, it was more so. I was, I think, after he had the jaundice, I was pretty much scared that
Okay.
I can't trust anybody.
Okay.
I just have to do it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't trust his father. I could trust, but I just didn't. Even my own mother, she said, "I want to come in and make sure you guys are okay." I was like, "No, because then I was now afraid that she would want to impose all these old ways of hers on me, even though she did it telephonically. I just didn't realize it. Although the old ways ended up helping her.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, it drove me to the point where I realized I needed the help.
Yeah.
I realized I can't do it on my own. So there were times I felt like I was breaking down. Luckily, my younger brother was living with me.
Okay.
So I would say, please, I just need 5 minutes. I need 2 hours. I need 2 hours. I need to sleep. I can't operate like this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm on a shift that's never ending. So luckily he helped us. And on the other end, I was also lucky that my child's father is very involved. So he is the type that as soon as it's 5 o'clock, he would come and say, "Okay, I'm taking over for the next maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. I'll watch soccer. You go do your thing. Take a shower if you want to. Sleep if you want to, because you need the help." So
Yeah.
that also in the long run helped me,
Okay.
especially because I knew I could trust him because it's his child. So I was like, "Okay, no. I need to get all the help I could get," and I think the reassurance from his grandmother also helped a little bit, that I needed to let go and let people around help.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it helped me overcome a little bit, because it was really a challenge to trust people. It was a challenge. It was really a challenge.
No, that's really okay. That's very interesting, actually, and I think you're also opening my mind up, because I need to be ready if this ever comes my way. I need to know what to expect, and like you just but okay, then I want to just close off by saying, do you have any final words of motivation, encouragement to moms, single moms, young moms who are, or first time moms, just based on your own experiences? What encouragement would you give? Yeah.
Firstly, before I even get to single moms, I want to say that the decision to have a child is a very big decision. When you decide to, in fact, not even the decision, the act of that leads to having a child in itself is already a big decision.
Okay.
So when you do the act and it results into a human being, be responsible about it. And regardless of the status of you and the person, I think you should think long term. Don't think short term. Think of your child. Think of the relationship you want your child to have with your partner or your ex-partner or whatever the person is in your life.
Yeah.
Think of all those things with whatever you do. Don't make or say things that are going to be based on the temporary feeling you're feeling in that given time. And I understand hormones are not an easy thing to let go of, or to understand in themselves, or even yourself, you won't understand what you're going through. But I do say that when you decide to have a child, it must be a decision that you make, that regardless of what happens, or when you do the act, be somebody that can say that when I'm doing this act, I'm going to take responsibility for everything that comes with it. And so should the other person. And to single mothers, I think that wherever you are, you're doing a great job. If you are a single mother who's with your child and you are completely involved and you're completely doing everything you can for your child, I applaud all single mothers. The only thing I ask from them is to not be selfish and think of themselves when it comes to the relationships they have with the other side. I think you should be civil about it if you guys are not together. If you are together, that is wonderful. But be together in a way that is going to raise a responsible, sound, loving, humble, kind child. You don't want your child to be, you've brought up your child in something, and it's just a broken human being. It's fine if life breaks them, but don't be the reason your child is broken.
That is sure. That's good, because I think that is a very good point. That regardless of, and I think that's a conversation we'll have to have maybe with a group of moms or something we can discuss, and children. I've seen some very interesting YouTube videos on like people talking about, you know, the trauma or the experiences that their parents have passed on to them. And I've seen some like kids who are older, like even adults, confronting their adult parents about, you know, this is you impose this opinion on me, and I lived a certain way because of your traumas. And you know, because I think we do, if we're not very careful about it, we do tend to pass on our traumas to children and to other people in our lives, people who look up to us, and we tend to give them information or advice based on like trauma, right? So you'll say something like, girl, oh menchi, no. You know, and it's like you put this in the child's mind, you know, like this is normal, or you put it in the child's mind based on your thing that no, men will hit you, or women will be verbally abusive to you, and the child really believes that, okay, if I'm with a woman and she's verbally abusive, it's not a problem, and it's not true. So but I think that's something you touched on that's really, really important, and I think that will need a whole interview and a whole conversation on its own. But I just want to thank you so much, Bertha, for doing this with me. I thank you so much for having this conversation with me. And yeah, so if you've gotten to the end of this video, thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment, leave any questions you have for Bertha. We can always have her back. We can have some more conversations with her. And thank you for watching, and bye.